Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to the long-awaited third part of What If Vegeta Spared Nappa, where we examine the fallout of Vegeta not making a ghost of everyone's favorite smooth scalped Saiyan way back at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. So first of all, I need to clear up some aspects of this What If that are wildly off the traditional marks, starting with the simple fact that Nappa left Frieza Planet 79 at the same time Vegeta would have done originally. Given that this is the same planet that's home to the Ginyu Force, who are in turn only 4 days away from Namek, Nappa's travel time spent stewing on recent betrayals and practicing ki suppression just couldn't fit into the time available. There would also be no time on Namek for any amount of preemptive action that I've somehow managed to shoehorn in there, let alone reflection, additional soul-searching, and training. So without going back and doing some glaring retcons, like creating a Namekian time chamber or giving Nappa an early potential unlock, which I just couldn't see happening at that point, I think I need to quietly break some minor location details instead. Either Nappa and Vegeta, and I guess Kiwi as well, all need to start off on a different Frieza planet, or Planet 79 itself needs to be a bit further away. Also, the Ginyu Force are not on this planet. Either they are on Planet 79 and Nappa and Co. were not, or 79 is further away and Ginyu is somewhere else. Or perhaps they're just already on their way to Yardrat, maybe. I just really want to, or rather really need to, let Nappa have that fortnight to stew in his own thoughts as he practices in front of the Stouter, and another fortnight on Namek for the mental silt to settle a bit after Guru's dredging of the harbour of Nappa's memories. I am of course assuming that Nappa has told both Nail and Guru about the whole Zenkai thing, and Nail is more than willing to abuse it maliciously, with regular, albeit increasingly friendly beatdowns. Good thing Namekians can heal you, huh? Ah, plot conveniences. Also, this would mean that Frieza himself would have needed to come from a planet that was a bit further away as well. I know retcons are a bit trite, but I really don't want to gut or abandon the story, so I'll just move the starting pieces around a bit instead. Okay, now that's all out of the way. In the last part, Nappa was firmly cementing his alliance with the local yokels of Namek. That Nail guy especially was proving to be quite a sparring partner, and maybe even a friend. Having since met up with the gang from Earth, Nappa, or maybe it should have been Nail, proceeded to amaze or probably horrify his former boss man by subduing the mighty prince, and then Dodoria. After a round of potential unlocks and Zarbon biting the dust, Nappa is left scratching his head trying to come up with a plan to separate Frieza from the few Dragon Balls he'd already collected. The early warnings broadcast by Guru have paid off on that front. With villages abandoned and the wish orbs all hidden away, Frieza is growing increasingly frustrated. As the group makes their way closer to Frieza's ship, they sense some massive powers approaching the world. Soon after, 5 specially marked pods slam into the ground near the ship. Are those Ginyu pods? Oh no, no, they were so close, and now this? While Vegeta throws a minor fit, Nappa is oddly unfazed. He's staring at the craters, scratching his chin. I think we need another diversion, Nappa says, smiling down at the prince. And I think it's your turn, Vegeta. Nappa lays out the gist of his plan, and while Vegeta balks at it, Krillin, Gohan, Dende, and Sopra, the Namekian warrior that's rejoined them, all bounce the idea around a bit. All this deception stuff is pretty new to the two Greens, but it's kind of fun. It's like a puzzle game, and at least it's a break from farming. As he listens to them hash it out, Vegeta, who is not providing any input, is increasingly unsure about this quote-unquote plan. Nappa bringing him to Frieza as a prisoner, Frieza will likely just kill them both on sight. Nappa agrees that Frieza likely would kill him, but not right away. He does love his torture, doesn't he? And the guy's always had a special kind of hate for the prince. And everyone knows that feeling is quite mutual. Nappa, on the other hand, is just your run-of-the-mill dog's body. Nothing but a henchman. He strips off his Namekian garb, tosses them at Vegeta, and waits. The Saiyan prince, wearing a towel? No, this is just... Frieza, as it turns out, is tickled a bright shade of pink, seeing the battered-looking, self-proclaimed prince kneeling there, wearing that silly get-up, all while staring at the floor. His much-lauded pride now mirroring Nappa's shattered armor. Vegeta stays silent, biting his tongue to keep from looking at or saying something to the Lord, while Frieza asks how Nappa could possibly have defeated him. Nappa then goes through the talking points, enthusiastically focusing on the insulting bits, and jostling Vegeta less than gently as he makes his points. He'd kind of taken on Kiwi's role and followed the prince, finally catching up to him after he'd failed to make nice with the locals, and he and Zarbon were busy getting knocked about by some massive green guy. Zarbon, unfortunately, was toast, but Vegeta was left alive. Barely. Frieza remains skeptical, but when Nappa tells him that the green guy flew away with the Dragonball that Vegeta had apparently managed to locate, all is forgiven. He had been close to giving up. These last few weeks had been so completely unproductive. After all that build-up, finding the first 3 balls so quickly, he'd been so excited, but then it had all ground to a halt, and he had slowly resigned himself to the wish being nothing more than a pipe dream. But there are, after all, more of them out there, just waiting for him. After some more planning, with lots of nodding and agreeing, Nappa heads out with Recoome, Guldo, and Captain Ginyu to where Vegeta reluctantly confessed another ball is located. Oh, just how broken is he? Practically begging for his life like this? Oh, delicious. If they can get both of those Namekian balls, that'll make 5. Oh, he can almost feel his mortality. As they fly around the world once again, Nappa thinks he can sense another arrival. A gentle but powerful being, also oddly familiar. Ah, that must be Kakarot. At last! The excitement is almost overwhelming as he looks forward to testing himself against that country bumpkin once again. They arrive at the site of the supposed Dragon Ball to find Gohan searching through an abandoned village. Nappa introduces the massive Recoome, diminutive Guldo, and of course the captain, to the terrified little boy and demands that he hand over their Dragon Ball. They are not pleased to hear that he hasn't found it yet, and nothing shows up on Ginyu's scouter. It does, however, pick up a new signal. Someone with a power level of only 5,000 has landed, but not exactly nearby. Who could that be? Oh well, barely worth noting. They join the search for the ball, but Goku's rather sudden arrival snatches their attention away. He notes Nappa's presence, but walks over to his son to get filled in. Gohan is thrilled to see him, but is a bit cagey with the details, as he doesn't want to tip off the others to their ruse. Goku eventually reads Gohan's mind, because, he can do that now, somehow. Though, if memory serves, he will never do it again? I mean, that's some Star Trek Voyager level character development right there. Anyway, while he's generally not one for subterfuge, Goku can play along to a point. Also, neither of them have tails, so the Ginyu Force members don't twig that these two unknowns are in fact Saiyans. Nappa's odd greeting is lost on them, and they carry on searching. Recoome at least is thinking happy thoughts about how Frieza will be interested in this vaguely powerful warrior, even if the captain doesn't show much interest. Goku, though, can hear King Kai screaming at him. Under no circumstances should he meet with Frieza. No, no, no. So when they give up searching, Goku refuses to go back with them to the ship. Angered by the loss of all the favor that a new soldier could have garnered him with his lord, Recoome decides that if he's not with him, he gets smushed. Come here, you pesky little... Hey, where'd he go? Right behind the captain, as it turns out, who hasn't noticed that he isn't wearing a scouter anymore. Man, Goku must have paid attention to what he saw in Gohan's mind, and is playing along perfectly. Who would have thought he could manage that? When Guldo traps Goku in, I guess it's a proto-time cage, Recoome then watches in stunned disbelief as Gohan, being outside of that trap, powers in to knock Guldo out, being careful to smash his scouter as well. The big man then takes note of the rapidly evolving Goku vs. Ginyu fight. As a bright red Goku tangles with the captain, Recoome is left slightly slack-jawed. How can a guy with a power level of only 5,000 match him? He reaches for his own scouter, but it explodes as he touches it. The number that flickered across the screen as it cracked was 130,000. He was much too distracted by the scene in front of him to feel the presence behind, until the scouter shattered and someone tapped him on the shoulder. Nappa faces Recoome with an oddly happy look on his face. Ginyu can't quite believe what he's seeing either. Guldo is all over the place, barely able to catch his breath with that little kid hounding him. Recoome and that Nappa guy are tearing chunks out of each other. And then there's this guy. 5,000 can't be right. After Guldo manages to catch his breath, and then Gohan, he promptly gets decapitated by a random energy disk that comes flying in out of nowhere. Seeing that, Ginyu breaks off from Goku to regroup with the now toothless Recoome. This is all wrong. How can a guy that weak keep up with him? Recoome manages to say that guy's power is high. How high? Higher than yours, sir. He'd like to have known how much higher, but Recoome vanishes in the light bloom of Nappa's own mouth blast. Higher than his, huh? Well that's handy. Change now! He shouts as Goku comes in with a gut punch. Point blank, he had no chance to avoid it, and, no longer under his control, his fist carried on, much further than he had intended to, as their momentarily mindless bodies slammed into each other. When Goku opens his eyes, he is looking straight at himself. He's grinning back with, ouch? What the... He looks down and sees the problem. His Yeah, that's definitely his fist, and it's firmly embedded in his, but also not, his chest. Oh man, that hurts. Nappa watches Ginyu fall back and hit the ground, gasping. He looks down at the mighty captain of the Ginyu Force and smiles slightly. This guy was the pinnacle of the Ginyu Force, and Kakarot just ended him. He didn't think the guy had it in him. Man, Goku, you really are something else. Goku? Where'd he go? Ginyu shifts, motioning behind Nappa as the hit comes in, connecting firmly with the back of Nappa's head. From the pile of rocks he'd left, gouging into the ground like that, he looks back at them. So, he really wants to do this now, huh? Oh, okay then. Before he can dig himself out, though, Nappa sees Gohan run out calling for his dad to stop. But the boy himself then stops short as Goku reaches down for Ginyu's discarded scouter, and Ginyu calls out weakly to Gohan. The boy looks caught, and is looking back and forth between Goku and Ginyu in confusion. That kinda sounds like... When his senses reach out, he feels that that's not actually Ginyu at all, lying there, bleeding out. And that is not Kakarot. I mean, damn it, Goku is such a silly name for a Saiyan. Well, whatever. It's like they've switched. Ginyu in Goku's hand doesn't have time to tap the scouter as Nappa careens into him. At the moment, he knows only that he can't let that scouter activate. It'll undo what little is left of their plan if Frieza hears any of this. When they finally come to a stop, both get up and face each other. Ginyu reaches for his scouter again, but finds it's not there. Nappa holds it out for the mighty captain to see, then tosses it over to the kid. Now, let's see what Kakarot's body can do, eh? Kakarot? That's a Saiyan name. Ah, I'm in a Saiyan body now. That might explain things. Similar to Vegeta versus Ginyu in Goku, the beatdown occurs, and Ginyu is left bruised and broken in the dirt. When he tries to body swap with Nappa, Goku in Ginyu, who has barely enough energy to fly, gets in the way and once again ruins the captain's plans. Feeling for the change in their keys, Nappa immediately fires on Ginyu's body, vaporizing it. It's just not worth the trouble he could cause further down the line, is it? He helps Gohan pick up Goku, who thanks him. Then, wincing from the pain, he reaches into his gi for a small pouch. Good thing Ginyu didn't know about these, huh? After taking his own, he offers one to the battered Nappa, but he refuses. He's fine, and they just might need it later. Gohan also refuses. He's only a bit scuffed after all. Having never faced Recoome, he's in much better shape. With all this, Nappa is pretty chuffed with himself. This works out way better than what they'd hoped, and Ginyu had shown him how. He tells Gohan to go off and meet up with that bald guy who's been hiding nearby, and then he puts the scouter on Goku and asks how pompous he can act. It turns out that he's hopeless at it. He can't even strike a pose without laughing. Oh, okay then. Can you pretend to be a mean, condescending jerk? Goku does his best, to which Nappa shrugs non-committally. They arrive back at Frieza's ship, despite King Kai's objections, and Frieza's initial surprise at the sight of Goku is matched only by Vegeta's. What the hell is he doing here? How can he just waltz in like that? In his gruffest, Christian Bale Batman voice, Goku explains that this new body is just amazing. Nappa confirms this, saying Ginyu barely had time to swap before his old body was obliterated. You should have seen it. It was spectacular, Vegeta. Goku then steps forward and proclaims that this man has lied. There was no Dragon Ball. He struts towards Vegeta and salutes the Emperor in something equal parts silly and awkward. Maybe a dab? Or is that too contemporary? Like I said, awkward and silly. He then hoists Vegeta up and drags him out of the throne room, saying he needs to have some one-on-one time with the princess. Ah, see, Nappa? Nothing to worry about. He's got this mean thing down pat. Luckily, Nappa was watching Goku leave, so Frieza didn't get to see the look on his face. And here I will leave you all hanging once again at the end of Part 3. Goku is strutting his stuff for all it's worth, with everyone around thinking he's the captain, while Nappa tries not to hold his hand, or laugh, or cry. Frieza has his sights on hopefully 2 more Dragon Balls, but is a few more men down. Not that he cares about the latter. Can Goku play his part, or will things fall apart? Will Frieza go after that big mean Namekian, giving the rest of them the chance to clean out his stock of Dragon Balls? Find out next time on Dragon Ball. What if Vegeta spared Nappa?